Now, I'm concerned about all of this because it seems to me that politicians or people who are in positions of power and also positions of influence, like teachers and so on and so forth, are having control of things that could, in a sense, make children think in a certain way. So almost like, condition children to think in a certain way when children are children, they're quite innocent of the thoughts that adults are projecting onto them.
Well, yes, I agree. What's been happening is coercion. Children have been coerced into thinking along a certain way. We all know the difference between male and female. We've always known the difference. But suddenly there's the idea that we can choose to be male or female or not. That's the idea. And this has been forced onto children, and children are being required to pick it up and change their way of thinking.
And it is concerning because children are quite malleable, aren't they? So you give them something, and they also want to please the parents in particular. And what concerns me about a lot of this is that in the end, children will be confused as to their own identity. So the very thing it's trying to help them discover is the very thing it'll confuse them of.
Well, it's where these ideas are coming from. Who's taking charge of the situation there? I always said to people, who told you this and why did you believe them? But these are children, and children who are, who need to be given space to work out their own ideas and their own identity. But this ideology that you can choose your sex, which is totally wrong, is being forced onto them before those children have a chance to work out who they are themselves.
What about gender pronouns there? Because people say sexual identity and gender pronouns, they're different, or, I get so confused with all of it in the end. But what about the gender pronoun aspect of it? I went into a bar and I was chatting and I was saying, this, and I was saying he said this, that and the other. I was talking to one of my friends and the waiter, who I'd called he, came to me and said, "It's they." And I said, "Why? There are two of you." but you know what I mean? Yeah. He had to correct me and I'm like, as if I've done something. This whole gender pronoun thing, does that, should the schools be pandering to that?
Yes, it's the Dave Chappelle one they or many theirs, isn't it? But it's what these pronouns actually mean. Those pronouns are actually describing words. And if I'm describing somebody else to you, it's me that decides which pronoun to use.
Yes.
And so that you would understand that. And what's happened here is people are then compelling other people to use pronouns which don't fit the person you're describing. And that's what's causing all this cognitive conflict.